The Dying Plant. This is a brand new channel and we're just getting started. So be among the first to like, subscribe and share this story with someone who needs it. You can also pre-order a free collection of similar timeless stories using the link in the chat. And if this story resonates with you, tell us how in the comments. We read every one. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Girl Who Never Owned a Plant. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Sarah who had never grown up around plants. Not for lack of interest, but because her mother didn't believe in them. "They're messy," she'd say. "They attract bugs, they die too easily, and then you feel bad." Their home had always been clean, practical, uncluttered. There were no vines trailing from windowsills, no quiet leaves reaching for the light, just ceramic floors, silent walls, and functional furniture. But Sarah always wondered about the homes that felt softer, about people who spoke to their plants in the morning. She'd see them sometimes, online or in friends' apartments, spaces where something lived quietly in the corner, unfurling, pulsing, present. And so, after college, when she signed the lease on her first apartment, she made a quiet promise to herself: "I'll make room for life." She didn't act on it right away. For months, she just added plants to her Amazon cart. Pothos, peace lilies, a snake plant or two. Always paused before checking out. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe next paycheck. Maybe she needed to learn more first. Then, one afternoon, everything shifted. She was watching a tech tutorial on desk setups, just background noise while unpacking books. But in the corner of the frame, barely noticeable, stood a plant. Broad, deep green leaves with pale markings. Soft, full, it wasn't the centerpiece, it was just there, quietly making the whole space feel more alive. She paused the video, took a screenshot, and for the first time in months, she didn't add something to her cart. She made a plan to find it. Chapter 2. The Purchase. She went to the plant shop that Saturday. It was not the big chain store with fluorescent lights and laminated coupons, but the smaller one near the bakery, the one with wooden shelves and jazz playing low. She walked in with the screenshot open on her phone. She held it out to the woman behind the counter. "Do you know what this is?" The woman leaned in, squinted at the image, and then smiled. "Oh yeah, that's a calathea, prayer plant family, gorgeous leaves." Sarah didn't ask what prayer plant meant. She didn't ask if it was hard to care for or what it needed. She just followed the woman to the back wall where two matching calatheas waited in soft pots. They looked full, healthy, and rich with green. Sarah didn't think twice about it. She bought both plants. As the employee wrapped the plants in brown paper, she asked if Sarah needed anything else. Sarah shook her head. She believed she had what she needed. She had light, she had water, she had love. On the walk home, she cradled the plants like something warm. They felt like proof of something. Back at her apartment, she placed them by the window in her home office, where the sunlight stretched wide in the mornings. She adjusted her desk lamp to spotlight them when the sun moved away. She filled a small glass and placed it beside the pot, ready for morning routines. It all felt peaceful and contained. "I'm so excited," she whispered. "They look perfect here. I'll water them every morning." Part 3. The Early Warnings. The first morning went exactly as planned. Sarah opened the blinds, let the light spill across her desk, and poured a small glass of water. She watered both plants gently, just enough to keep the soil damp but not soggy. They looked perfect. Their leaves stood tall, angled slightly toward the sun. She felt proud. The second morning, she noticed one of the leaves had a faint brown tip. It was barely noticeable, just a little dry edge at the corner. She gently rubbed it between her fingers. It crinkled slightly. She told herself it might have been from the shipping or the repotting. She watered them again, a little more than the day before. By the third morning, there were more spots, still small, but clearly new. One on each plant now. The edges of the leaves didn't look as full anymore. She wondered if maybe they needed more light. Her office got sun in the morning, but only for a couple of hours. Maybe they were still adjusting to the space. That afternoon, she moved the plants into her living room, where the sunlight stretched across the floor for most of the day. She placed them near the balcony door and adjusted the curtain to filter the light just slightly. She stood back and watched for a while. They looked brighter there, sharper somehow. It felt like a small win. But by the end of the week, the browning had spread. What were once small tips had turned into entire edges, crispy, dry, and curling. One of the leaves had folded slightly inward, like it was trying to shield itself. Another had developed a faint yellow streak down the center. Sarah crouched next to the plants and touched the soil. It still felt damp. She misted the leaves again, just to be safe. She stared at them for a long time. Something wasn't right, but she couldn't tell what she had done wrong. Part 4, the first panic. She didn't mean to spiral. It started with a quick Google search. Why are my calathea leaves turning brown? She expected something simple, maybe a pest or too much sun. But every article said the same three things: light, water, humidity. Sarah leaned closer to the screen. She had light. Her apartment was bright. She watered every morning. But humidity, she had no idea what the humidity was. Her thermostat didn't say. She didn't grow up with that word meaning anything real. It was just a weather thing, summer air sticking to your skin. Still, something clicked. She remembered her mom always cracking a window to air the place out, even in winter. Maybe that's why the air here felt so dry. That night, she placed a same-day order for a humidifier and a little digital reader. When it arrived, she plugged it in immediately, set it next to the plants, and waited. The number on the reader blinked. 25%. That couldn't be right. She Googled again. Apparently, calatheas liked 50% to 60%, some even higher. She turned the humidifier on full blast. Within a few hours, the reader crept to 38%. By the next morning, it reached 52%. For the first time in days, she let out a small breath. Maybe this would fix it. And it helped, sort of. The brown spots slowed down, but they never stopped. Each day brought a new edge curling inward, a new streak along the veins. She adjusted the humidifier, moved it closer, closed the living room door to trap more moisture, opened it again to let in light. Watched the numbers flicker on the screen like a countdown she didn't understand. She whispered to the plants that night, "I'm trying, okay?" They didn't fold, but they didn't stand tall either. Part 5, the comparison and desperation. It started with one Instagram reel. A woman stood in her kitchen, sunlight pouring in. Behind her, the same plant, tall, wide, alive. Its leaves shimmered like satin, not a single brown edge. Sarah paused the video, watched it again. Then she found another, and another. Soon her feed was filled with people just like her, except their plants looked nothing like hers. She joined a subreddit for houseplants, posted a blurry photo with the caption, "What am I doing wrong?" Replies poured in: filtered water only, missed it 3 times a day, never put it in direct sun, use distilled, use rainwater, use reverse osmosis. She copied each suggestion into a note, tried filtered water first, then a fine mist bottle, then a grow light clipped above her desk. She moved the plant away from the window, then back again. She downloaded a sun exposure app. She bought a hygrometer for each room. She calibrated her thermostat. Every morning, she checked the soil with her finger. Every evening, she circled the plant like a surgeon. She whispered to it. She apologized out loud. But the leaves stopped folding at night. The signature movement, the prayer, was gone. They lay flat now, still, tired. Sometimes she stared at them for minutes, trying to will them into motion. She set an alarm every 4 hours to mist, even at night. She would wake, shuffle across the floor, and spray each leaf like a ritual. The soil was damp, the air was humid, the light was precise. But the plant kept fading. And one night, just past 2 a.m., she sat cross-legged on the floor. The humidifier purred behind her. The plant was still, dull, one side curling inward like it didn't want to be seen. She picked it up gently, like holding a small, tired child, and whispered, "What do you want from me?" Part 6, the collapse. She missed the first morning, the one where she didn't water, didn't mist, didn't check the soil. She didn't forget, she just didn't move. It had been weeks. The humidifier now lived on a timer. The grow light flicked on at 8, off at 6. The plant got everything it was supposed to. But it wasn't working. One of the calatheas had stopped reacting altogether. The leaves were limp, lifeless, no new growth, no movement. Not even the brown tips, just a pale stillness, like it had decided to give up. The other one had started curling in. Not dramatically, just quietly, folding in on itself like a letter never meant to be read. Sarah stood by the window with both plants in her arms. They didn't feel warm anymore. They didn't feel like proof of anything. No anger, no grief, just quiet. She set them down in the hallway gently, next to a Trader Joe's bag, rolled the brown paper down, tucked the leaves inside like hair being brushed behind an ear, and walked back in without looking. She didn't cry, but something shifted, like a small belief gave out. Not about the plants, about herself. Maybe I'm just not the kind of person who keeps things alive, or maybe I'm just not meant for this. Part 7. The Random Encounter. Time had passed since she threw the plant away. She wasn't plant shopping. She had a few minutes to spare before meeting a friend for coffee and ended up wandering off the main road. She didn't plan to come here. Her feet just brought her in. The door to the plant shop was open. A soft bell rang as she stepped inside. The air felt warm and damp. A quiet misting fan hissed in the corner. There was filtered sunlight falling through a frosted skylight. Wooden shelves held rows of green in every shape. Somewhere behind a curtain, pots clinked gently. The leaves rustled like breathing. She wasn't looking for anything. But then she saw it. There it was, the exact plant. Lush, folded in prayer, undamaged, alive. She stopped. She didn't move closer. She just stood still, taking it in. The ache in her chest didn't swell like grief. It hovered quietly, like a familiar weight. Her eyes stung, but she didn't cry. After a long pause, almost without thinking, she said aloud, "That one? I had that one. I tried everything. It just didn't make it." Behind her, someone had been listening. The shop owner stepped out slowly. He didn't speak right away, just walked to her side and looked at the plant, as if seeing it for the first time too. "Was it your first?" She nodded, eyes still forward. "Yeah, I saw it in someone's video. Thought it looked peaceful." He gave a small, understanding smile. "That's usually how it starts." His voice remained quiet. A lot of people come in after seeing a plant in someone else's home. They finally have their own space, maybe their first apartment, maybe just a little quiet, and they want something alive in it, something soft, something that breathes. They choose what's beautiful, what made someone else's life look peaceful. They bring it home, set it by the window, they water it, they mist it. They feel proud. It feels like they're beginning something. He paused, but then the browning starts, or the edges curl, or it stops responding altogether. She didn't speak. He continued, "Most of the advice out there isn't wrong. Plants need light, water, humidity. But what's true for one plant can be the very thing that damages another. Some plants drink sunlight, others burn to the root. Some like to dry out between waterings, others collapse when they're left too long. Some tolerate dry air, but this one, Calathea, needs to feel like it never left the rainforest. It needs bright but indirect light. No harsh sun. It likes warmth, steady warmth, no drafts, no cold corners, and the air humid, not just in the mornings. Always, around 60% or more. Even the water matters. Distilled is best. Tap water leaves marks, sometimes scars, and if your routine shifts, it notices. Some plants forgive. This one remembers." He looked down, then back up. "What makes it harder is this. Sometimes the things we do out of love, the things that worked beautifully for another plant, end up harming this one. A sunny windowsill, a little extra water, misting once in the morning, those aren't bad habits. But for the wrong plant, they become quiet mistakes." She was still silent, listening. He softened. "A lot of people think they're just bad at it, that maybe they weren't meant for this, that they don't have a green thumb. But most of the time, they're just trying to follow good advice, without realizing that good advice still needs to be adjusted. Not every truth applies to every plant. There's no universal guide, only specific care. He turned to face her fully. A good journey with a plant doesn't begin with watering schedules or sun exposure charts. It begins with knowing what you're holding and caring for it, not based on what you've seen or what the world says every plant needs, but based on its own needs, its name, its nature. That's where care begins.